Alright, let's do this. Round 2 with the Samurai at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit in Oklahoma. If you want to skip ahead to the best part, the 500 GP race was my best race of the weekend, followed closely by my 500 Superstock race. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. This is Devin. I race a Ninja 400. First race of the day, 500 Superbike. I'm starting on pole position. Day so far has been pretty interesting. I missed the first practice, and the second practice had some issues with the bike. So this is actually the only second time I've been out on the bike. Cameron's going to get a good start, go right past me. I didn't get a bad start, didn't get a great start, just kind of in the middle. Saw myself in the second place here, right behind Cameron. He's one of our local racers from Oklahoma. He's ridden this track quite a bit. That's one of the challenging parts about Hallett, is that, you know, if we're coming up, there's a lot of people who only ride this track, so they have a lot of experience out here. So, you know, you're kind of battling against hometown heroes, if you would say. Coming up on an expert right here. Cameron's going to go around the outside of him. I'm going to run up the inside into turn 4. Still kind of getting the feel of the bike and feel of the track. We're having some issues, like I said earlier, in practice, so this is still kind of a practice session, if you would say, just trying to get comfortable again. You can see Cameron ahead of me, and we're catching up to that expert pack. You can see them out at the end of turn 6. One of the big struggles for these first 2 races was just trying to get confident, trying to feel out the bike, feel out myself, feel out the track, and just get that pace back underneath me. It was a gorgeous day to be riding, though. Nice temperatures, tires felt great thanks to Pirelli and South Central Race Center. Brakes felt great with DP brake pads. Overall, wonderful conditions, and we're going to hop into a little bit of a track explanation. Here we are coming onto the front straight. This is going to be the fastest lap of this race. It's going to be lap 6. Here we are passing the start-finish line with the run up to turn 1. Turn 1 is a fast left-hand turn coming into this next straight. Straight is on a hill, so we're going to crest the hill right here, and then we're going to get the run into turn 2. Turn 2, you get a downhill run in, very tight left-hander with a quick switch back into turn 3, which is a right-hand turn. So you'll see that switch right here with a run up the hill into turn 4. Really cool part about Hallett, you can see the grandstands off to the left. Here we are coming through turn 4. It's a right-hand turn, which is going to put us right into turn 5 here, this left-hand turn. You're going to see a lot of passes here when we get into those lightweight races later in the day. Here we are coming into turn 6, a nice sweeping left-hand turn. This is also a great place to pass in all the 500 races. Doing this back stretch up into turn 7. I love this part of the track. So we're going to full pin through here to the left, quick over to the right, and then we enter the bowl, which is downhill, off-cambered, right-hand turn up. We have bleachers on both the left and right-hand side. Super cool part about Hallett, we go over the tunnel right here. So that's a bridge going over a tunnel for cars to enter the track. Now we're coming through the last 2 turns. This is a sweeping left-hander, so you'll kick out. On the gas here, we're going to let it come out, and you can see that start-finish line coming up in the clubhouse right there. And that's a lap at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit. And here we are. I'm still in second place behind Cameron, but he ended up getting disqualified in this race for a transponder issue. So I got first place through a technicality. Second race of the day, lightweight superbike. Something interesting about lightweight is we're racing up a class. I'm on the Ninja 400. A lot of these dudes are on RS660s, R7s, and SV650s. What does that mean? They have twice the horsepower that I have. So they're always going to kill me in the straights, but we can get them in the corners. Here we go, entering turn 1. You can see that right in front of me. He's on an R7, and you'll see how fast he pulls away with all that extra horsepower. Alright, here we are. So we're running it towards turn 2. I'm going to catch up with him in the braking zone. So right here, I get right up behind him. One of the challenges of racing up a class is, where do I pass him? Well, I can't pass him on the straight. I have to get him in the corner, and this is my favorite corner to do it, turn 4. So I'm going to roll around the outside of him into turn 4. What does that do? That sets me up perfectly for an inside line in turn 5, which you're going to see right here. I'm going to hold it right next to the candy striping, get a good drive, run it towards turn 6. Turn 6 is nice because it's that long left-hand sweeper, so I can use my momentum to my advantage and build an even bigger gap between him and myself. the rider in front of me, he's on the Ninja 400. We're both going to pass this rider on an SV650. Now, since he's also on the Ninja 400, I can change how I pass him. I'm going to get him into the braking zone here in turn 2. So I'm going to brake hard and take that inside line. I'm going to swing out a little bit, kill his momentum. I'm going to hold tight to turn 3 right here. I'm going to get a good drive running up towards turn 4. So I jump forward a little bit. Here we are. We're catching back up to that pack. In front of me is going to be the riders in 3rd and 2nd place. But in between us is this expert rider. So this is the big struggle of racing up a class. His rider has a lot more straight line power, but is slower in the corners by quite a bit. So you'll see right here, I get ran up and I try and go around the outside of him, but he kills too much of my momentum. So what does that do? He just power passes me immediately on the exit of this turn. So we're just going to be behind him for this next lap. It's really hard. There's nowhere good to set up a pass in this part of the track. You have to be very strategic when you're racing in lightweight on a Ninja 400 because you can't just pass everywhere. They'll get you on the next straight. You'll see right here, he kills my momentum through 6. Now I'm going to get another good run into the bowl on him. But again, it's hard to make a decision. Do I go outside? Do I go inside? So I end up just getting all my momentum zapped right out of me. And he's going to pull on me in this straight. Now again, we're going to start to really close it up on him through 4 and 5. In the 6. And again into the bowl. One of the other big struggles is I start to get really frustrated when I'm racing in these classes because I can see the dudes I could be battling with, but normally I always get stuck behind someone that I just can't get around easily. So it's kind of a mental challenge for me not to get too in my head about it. Right here, I'm going to go for another inside pass. Again, I just lose too much momentum trying to do this. Squeeze too tight. I tried to catch that upshift there, but it just does not matter. He's probably making a solid 30 more horsepower than me in that bike. So here we are, my favorite place to pass, into turn 4. So what are we going to do? Same thing we did earlier. I'm going to roll around the outside in 4, cut it to the inside in 5, kill his momentum, and then I can run away just enough towards turn 6. You're going to see he's going to try and catch up to me, but he has to brake earlier than I do, and I can keep all that corner speed through 6 right here and build a nice gap. Alright, now that we got that pass made, I'm going to try and put down some hot laps and catch up to that other pack. See if I can fight for a podium. Unfortunately, though, the race ended before I was able to catch back up to him. 4th ended up being the worst finish for the weekend. The only thing I was upset about, I wish I could have made that pass a little bit earlier in the race, stayed with that pack and fought for a podium. But overall, I'm not going to complain about it. And for our final race of the day, the Solo 500 Superstock race. What's really cool about this race is both experts and novices combined. It is a 20-lap, 30-minute long race. So not only does it test your endurance, but it also tests your consistency. So right here, you're going to see my buddy Zach get a great start, get right past me. The big thing for me in this race was I just wanted to stay with these experts. So you can see these 3 experts in front of me. That's all I wanted to do was just stick with them. One of the big reasons you enter a race like this is to continue to work on your skills that you can only really work on while you're racing. That's your race craft, that's your passing, that you're dealing with lappers, that's your line choices. And so for me, I knew that I was going to be out there with these experts, and I was really hoping, hey, can I stick with them? You know, even if it's only for a couple laps. I ended up being the whole race. But even if you're with them for just a couple laps, you know, what can I learn from them? Where can I improve? And what can I do so that way my next day can be even better and I can get more podiums? So here you're going to see I'm still behind my buddy Zach, and I'm just going to follow him and try and hunt him down. tried to go for a little pass on him there. Wasn't able to make it stick, but man, you know, you always got to take a shot when you have an opportunity. Alright, and we have completed the first lap of the 500 solo Superstock race. Here we are, we jumped around 4, and this is Alyssa. She's our overall novice champion from last year, so she's carrying the #1 plate this year in Expert. And I left this in so you can really see how much the draft and pass really works on the 500 races. So see right here, we get about the same drive out, but watch how she drafts up on me and is able to go around me as we pass the start-finish line. Here we are, we're going to catch up on this next pack of experts. So this was something I was really excited about, was working on a pass into turn 6. So you can see right here, coming through turns 4 and 5 and getting a good drive on this expert. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up for an inside pass into 6, lay it on the brakes here and trail into turn 6. Come out a little bit wide, cut it and get a good drive onto this straight. Now he's going to try to get a good momentum drive out of here as well and get another pass back on me, but I'm able to run just fast enough from him to where he's not able to draft and pass me into the bowl. Unfortunately though, I get caught in the draft of this other expert and it pulls me out wide. What does that do? It's going to let him undercut me up the inside. So see right here, I run wide. He holds that tighter line and gets right past me. So I jumped ahead to the next lap. You're going to see, really important for me right here is to stay on him. So through turns 2 and 3, we're trying to keep that gap to a minimum. Now the biggest thing for me right here is I need to be really smooth through turns 4 and 5. So right here, coming through 4, then we're going to switch it back right here in the 5 and get a really good drive. Now you're going to see I'm going to close up on him because I get a great drive. I'm going to set up for the same pass. Late break into turn 6. And this time, I'm able to make the pass stick. And here we are, here's the pass for 4th. Nothing too exciting. Lap traffic became a very large issue during this race. And then here we are here, I jumped ahead to lap 8 where I caught back up to Alyssa, the overall novice from earlier. Super excited to be able to ride behind her, see what line she's taken, and see where I can improve. This in here just so you can see we're kind of going pace for pace right here. Now we're going to end up running up against lap traffic. She goes for the inside. I was able to get around the outside of both of them through the bowl and get a good drive out. You'll see here on the tail cam, she gets caught behind that lap traffic. I was able to get around the outside, good drive out, and try and run away from her for a little bit. And here we are, another lap traffic. And you can see Alyssa still chasing me down on lap 11. Here we are on lap 12 coming through turn 6 that she's going to get a really good drive, and same thing, she's going to draft and pass on me. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was starting to get really tired during this race. My helmet camera ended up cutting out and the tail camera wasn't that interesting, but I ended up finishing 3rd overall in this race and was able to stay with Alyssa all the way through the final lap, which was very exciting for me and a very large development in my racing, to be up there with the experts running expert time the entire solo race. And now we're on to day 2. First race of the day, lightweight Superstock. When I entered this race, what I was really thinking was, hey, this is another practice for the races that matter. 500 Superstock and 500 GP later in the day. I get a really good start here. You know, I'm not going to complain too much. Alright, coming out of turn 1, I'm going to slot myself in the 4th place behind the 223 bike. See 1st, 2nd, and 3rd all right there. He gets a good drive out of turn 3 on me, so I'm not able to make the pass I made yesterday in the turn 4 on him in this lap. Now right here, I'm going to run up behind him in turn 6. Now I'm not trying to pass him here, I'm just trying to keep my momentum going. That's why you see me swing out a little bit, because I know he's going to get a good drive on this straight. I don't want to lose all my momentum in the turn. So here we are coming into the bowl. Now he ends up having an issue and getting a bad drive out of there, which makes me check up and run wide. When I did that, the rider behind us was able to get a drive up on me and get past me while we went on this straight. However, I was able to get this rider into the brakes into the final turn and get a good drive out, so that way I could build another gap between us. I'm going to speed the video up here as we catch up to the 223 bike. As we catch him here in turn 2, I'm doing the same thing I was doing in turn 6. I'm trying to get a good drive out of here and keep my momentum up so that way I can get him into turn 4. So here we come, up to turn 4. I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier. Roll around the outside of him and then get a nice tight line through turn 5 and drive out of here. Now you can see we already caught up to an expert as well. And that was about all the eventful stuff that happened in this race, lightweight Superstock. Still got a 3rd place overall, and I felt very prepared coming into our next race, which is going to be 500 Superstock. And here we are, my 2nd favorite race of the weekend, 500 Superstock, starting on pole position. You can see right ahead of me is the expert field about to take off on their first lap. And the grid behind me. Got a really good start in this race. You can see this other rider trying to come out around the outside, but I'm going to get a really good drive into turn 1. And I'm going to be in 1st place exiting turn 1. So now that I got a really good start on this race, what's really on my mind is catching up to the expert pack. So as I break away from this novice group in turn 2 and 3, I'm really just trying to put down the best lap I can and close the distance with those experts. As you can see, as we're coming through 4 right now, I've already closed up on those experts as we swing through 5, and I'm on that very back expert now, so I'm going to make an inside pass into 6, trying to keep that momentum high so I can close in with the rest of the pack. So as these experts begin the battle, it actually really helps me out because it's going to bring me in. They're going to slow each other down, and and I can keep those lap times up and close that distance with them. So we're coming out of the final turn now onto this front straight. You can see that whole expert pack right in front of me. So what's on my mind right now is trying to break away from that novice pack still and catch this expert pack. And that's why you see I ran my best lap of this race as a 26.73, because I was so focused on breaking away from the novices, catching back up to those experts. And you can already start to see just how close I've already caught up to that expert pack. So as I cross the start-finish line here, I'm going to look back and see how close that novice pack is. Now, I actually broke away from them and had a sizable lead at this point. I've also caught up to the experts already, and it's only lap 3. So at this point, I'm super jacked up about being with them and being able to fight with this expert pack and see how far I can get in this race. If you're interested in watching the full unedited version of this race, it's going to be linked below in the description as well as tagged in this video. This was one of the best races I've ever had, and I wish I could have put the full thing, but then this whole video would be over an hour long. So as you can see from the footage before, I've been behind this guy for a little bit, and I set up and I make a nice inside pass into turn 6, just like I had made on him in the solo 500 race the day before. Unfortunately for me this time, he was ready for it, and he gets a great drive out of turn 6. He's able to draft behind me and get that pass off before turn 7. And here we are on the last lap. Unfortunately, I was not able to get around him again, but this was still one of the best races I've ever had. To be in first place, to fight with the experts, and to show that I have the pace and skill to run with those guys was unbelievable, and I just couldn't be more happy with how this race went. For our third race of the day, we have the Formula 2 and Hooligans race. So I'm starting on the front row for Formula 2. This race is very interesting because we have the Hooligan class that lines up behind us. Hooligan bikes are around 130 horsepower, and again, I only have about 45 horsepower. So it creates a very large speed differential, which you'll see right here as they start to go around us. Hopefully in the future rounds, they start to put them out front and us behind them. As we exit turn 1, I'm going to slot myself in the 4th place as we run towards turn 2. Again, you can see those Hooligan bikes going around me. It does create a very interesting racing environment. The Hooligan bikes are a naked style bike. They race in Moto America in the Hooligans class. And so, again, you can see here, very similar to our lightweight bikes. I have significantly more cornering speed. They have significantly more straight line speed. So I'm going to run up on him. And again, same thing I do in the other races. Around him in 4, cut him in 5, get a good drive out of 5 into 6. You can see him try to catch up in 6, but I'm just able to pull away through this turn. Now you'll be able to really see the power on his bike after we leave 6. You can see just how fast he's able to catch up, but he's got to get on the brakes as we go into 7. And that's a completion of the first lap. You can see the Hooligan guy's bike again. Just the speed of those Hooligan bikes versus our bikes in this class. As we run into turn 2 again, I'm going to swing on the outside of here to build some momentum as we run it up towards turn 4. Like always, I'm in my prime position to make that outside pass in the 4. And you can see we caught up to another expert rider, so I'm going to make a inside pass in the 6 on him right here. And we can see those passes again here in the back cam. You can see just how much distance you can build with that outside to inside pass for 4 and 5. And this inside pass in the 6. Now he's going to get a really good run on me towards 7, but he just wasn't able to make that pass. And again, I'm going to fast forward the footage here. You can see just how hard those Hooligan bikes pull on us and how much I can close it up in the corners. And I can bet you can guess where I'm about to make this pass at. And there we go, another successful turn 4 and 5 pass. Again, I put this in here just so you can see how much closing speed those Hooligan bikes have on this 400 and how much distance I can get in the turns. You'll see him get around me here, and now I'm going to catch back up into turn 2. He's going to end up running a little wide, which you're going to see in this back cam right now. I was able to squeeze it up the inside. Unfortunately for me, though, there's no replacement for displacement. He gets me going into turn 4. Well, I ended up running my fastest lap of this race on the last lap at 27.74 and getting 3rd place. So I'm not going to complain at all. Racing up a class in the Formula 2 and racing with those Hooligan bikes, it's always a good time. For our 4th race of the day, we got Supertwins starting on the front row of this race as well. Get a pretty solid little launch here. Again, this is racing up a class against those bigger bikes. Gonna run it out around the outside of turn 1 on him, getting to 2nd place. He's gonna get me on a power pass, but it's not gonna last too long. I'm gonna get him in the brakes into turn 2. And that was the most eventful thing that happened this entire race. I stayed in 2nd the whole time, and everyone just kind of sat on their own little island. But gain second place, I will not complain about those points. And here we are, the best race of the weekend and also the last race, 500 GP. This race is great because we get to start with the experts. So you're going to see I'm going to get a decent launch here. You can see me chasing down that expert pack. All I wanted so bad was to run it up with them, because coming out of that 500 Super Sport race, I knew I had the pace to do it. So I just wanted to hang on to the back of them, get that pace going, and see what I could do. You can see that I've already caught up to that expert pack. I'm going to let a lot of this race play. I'm really happy with how it went, and I want everyone to be able to see it. Again, if you're interested in watching the full unedited version of this race, it's on my YouTube channel and also linked below in the description. Now you're going to see I'm going to try and go out a little wide so I can get a good drive on Zach coming out of the bowl. Unfortunately for me, I misjudged. Cameron was right behind me and was able to sneak past me and get in the first place. As you can hear there, I said, all right, let's do this. Cameron had already told me that he was coming after me after that 500 Superstock race, so I knew he was out for a vengeance. Now you can see I get a good draft on him coming down this front straight, and I'm going to make a move into turn one. A little bit later on the brakes than him, and was able to trail it in a little bit and get a good drive out of here. And unfortunately for Cameron, that's the last time we're going to see him in this video. How much I close up on Zach here into this braking zone. And they're able just to get a little bit better drive on me coming out of 3, running up towards 4. Some of the best laps I've had all weekend. Doing a 26.3 right now, which is just unbelievable pace for me, but it's only going to get faster. Coming onto the front straight, we're going to have my magnum opus lap, the best lap I've ever done. A 25.82 for this lap that you're witnessing right now. This lap is only 0.6 seconds off of the fastest lap set by the leader. Lap 4 ended up being 3 other people's fastest laps as well. You can see the pace of the whole pack is moving right now. And here we are as we come to the start-finish line, 25.8. That no you heard was my lap timer dying and me realizing I was never going to see that 25 hit. And as we come out of the bowl for our final time on the last lap of the last race, I'm going to take a look over my shoulder and see if Cameron or any of those other novices are with me. They're not. You can see that expert pack right up in front of me as we go through this last set of turns. What an amazing weekend, and what an amazing race to end on. To be with the experts, to have the pace and the skills to do it, and to end it with a first place and a new best lap record. I couldn't be happier. Thank you to everyone who helps me. DP Brake Pads, South Central Race Center, and Pirelli. I couldn't do it without my sponsors, and I couldn't do it without the people who love and support me. Thank you so much for watching, and please think about subscribing and liking this video.